What's up, YouTube? We have another one of the Horizon Hobby Blade Fusion helicopters here in front of us. It's the Fusion 360. This one's been out for quite some time as well. It's been updated to their smart lineup. Uh, Things that changed on this one were they went down from a 6S uh, power plant to 3S. Uh, this ESC can handle a 6S battery and a 4S battery. It's rated 3S through 6S. You'd have to just adjust your PIDs and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not sure how it would handle heat, if it overheat or anything like that. You'd have to play with the kV on the motor. But the ESC can handle 6S as far as that goes. This one, not much has changed as far as the original one. This one does have the original one, version 1 landing gear. It's carbon fiber. I prefer this one over the new plastic landing skid that they use on their older models and also on the 330S. It's the same landing gear. So if you have any lying around, you can reuse it on your current 360 Smart. The other changes, not so much a con. I mean, this helicopter's being sold now and kind of targeted for you beginners, so that you guys can kind of move in and kind of also get a piece of the higher performance lineup that they offer, which is the Fusion lineup. And that's my biggest guess, because it keeps the cost down when crashing, and they still offer every part from the Fusion 360, which was all aluminum and carbon fiber build. So this one you're gonna get as a trade-off, and it'll reduce the price as well, I assume. You're gonna get a pitch slider of plastic. This one currently has the aluminum one for from the original 360. The tail case is plastic. Blade grips are plastic, and that's about all. That's changed. Actually, yeah, that and the landing gear. Everything on the head and on the frame remain the same. Yeah, so up here at the front with the canopy, it appears the canopy is the same as well. You get your red, white, and blue paint scheme. It's actually my favorite paint scheme for any helicopter. I prefer these colors over anything, and it's very nice. It's a very nice high-vis canopy as well in the sun. It looks very bright. It just looks so nice in the sun and in the air. Now I gotta say, this 360, what was considered as a 450 size helicopter back in the day, when they used to go based off the can size on the motor. Now they go in reference to the blade size. It actually does have, and it shows in the box, it actually has 350 mil blades. You can run 360 mil blades. It'll just feel a little more floaty. Just depends what you like and your flying style. I guess for sport flying, I'd go with the longer blade, but this is fine the way it is. And for hard 3D, you'd be fine with the shorter blades, which are 350 mil. Now you get the same aluminum head with the zero pitch indicators on the top. The same markings for the logos, the blade logos on the blade grips. You get these awesome main blades with this nice color scheme they like to do with the white, transitions to some carbon fiber, and then as it comes to the solid black, it kind of fades away, and then it brings you to their blade logo, and that's what you get. The blade logo, anytime you have a logo on a blade, quick tip, that's the way they go. It faces up, and that'll show your orientation. Now remember, you always want to install them with your leading edge spinning in that direction. So another thing that I found was the swash plate also remain the same. Mixing arm, so pretty much everything's the same aside from the tail and the landing gear. I remove the canopy here. Also, it is made out of carbon fiber as the old one. Nothing changed here. Very nice canopy. They take their pride in their Fusion lineup. And just because I mentioned that doesn't mean that they're all perfect. I've had a couple of issues with one of these, and I've seen the issue present in um, other customers' 360s. As far as the 360 goes, I don't know why it was. It might have been a machining problem, and some people complain that the main head, the markings for zero pitch don't align to zero pitch in reference to your stick at zero pitch. That's true. I can verify that for you guys. I've had that issue, and this one currently has that issue. Um, well, it did, and I bought a new set of blade grips, and that fixed it, and as well with the head block. Not that it'll cause it to fly or act up in flight. Now, another occurring issue that I've kind of found, and some other, I believe, Heli Freak, or I'm not sure who it was on YouTube that posted it. The swash, the top bolts for the top pad of the swash. What they did was they over machined the swash tapered holes for the bolts a little too large, and the taper on the head was too small. So when you tighten the bolts, the screws, the swash top was still loose. It wasn't being clamped down with the screws. So I went ahead and got some screws from my Fusion 270. I believe they go to the lower frame mount, which is this thing right here. It'd be this guy with that blade logo, and they screw on the other side of the landing gear on the Fusion 270, and those are also tapered. And so I used those screws, and I had spares, and those fit nice and flush on the swash. But if you don't have that issue, then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, that was just something probably manufacturing had an issue with. I contacted Horizon. They got back to me with the callback, and Tony, he was gonna warranty it, but I just went ahead and purchased it myself. And sometimes I just can't wait. If it's a new model, I prefer to just purchase it, and that's fine. Now, that's why it's good to always go through your helicopters and do your pre-checks. And the warranty has been pretty good to me. I've had issues with these, and he's always sent me parts, and that's good, Down here we have the James Haley's. Well, this was other helis are designed by James Haley, as far as I know, and especially all their Fusion lineup. Now, as far as that goes, you have that optimized geometry servo layout, which I really love, and a lot of helicopters are using this layout now, or try to imitate something near this, and it just works. It's the best. I mean, you have a very, the servo is direct to the swash, and that's, I don't think you get better than that. Now, your head block, you have I believe this one has it has three head blocks, 3 bearings, one below, and then the 2 up top. These right here, this one actually has a dedicated upper head block and a lower head block, and then the middle one all the way at the bottom of the bearing. I mean at the main gear, and yeah. So we also have the main gear, as you can see. It's molded plastic main gear, very well made gear. People complain that it might wobble, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the gear. It's just probably the clearances in the bearings or something like that. I mean, I'm not sure. It's a good gear. It doesn't cause any issues in flight. And you got your main belt pulley. That's also plastic, and it's sandwiched with the aluminum guide, and that's cool too. It gives it a nice premium look. You got a 3,400 kV motor. It's black. It's got some venting at the bottom. Very nice motor. I like how they concealed it at the bottom. Gets away from the battery. The battery compartment's pretty nice too. It's very nicely organized and well thought out design as well. Like I said, the landing gear is what I prefer. It looks more aerodynamic, more modern. You come back here and you're gonna be equipped with their 6250HX flight controller. Now, I want to note this: any flight controller that you buy with the bind and fly model, it's specific to that model. You cannot take this 6250 and put it on another helicopter and reprogram it. The programming on the 6250 that comes with its bind and fly model is locked to that model. Don't try to reprogram it. Don't try to do anything to it. Just leave it, tune it, and don't do anything else. If you want to tune this and do things with this, you can get the open stock 6250HX, and that's, you know, free for you to do whatever you'd like. Then you got your really stout, very fat, wide, you know, very sturdy tail boom, and it's got some blade markings on both sides, and logos. You got that, like I said, you got that plastic case and blade grips. You know, the original had all aluminum. And there's a helicopter, and I'm gonna do a quick unboxing of this other one that I have, which is brand new in the box. And yeah, and this is cool because it also comes with one of those forget what the number of that receiver is, but I think it's a 6.5. Sorry, I think it's a 4651T remote receiver, and it has a button for binding, which makes it easy to switch between transmitters. And it's cool. Their design's awesome. Hides your tail servo. And the only thing I can tell you guys as a con with this one, well, with most of their helis that run this servo, let me see what servo it is. It's gonna be your 230, I believe. Your 360, your 270 is gonna run this servo, and the 330S is also gonna run this servo. They're H3055s. They tend to strip fairly easy. I mean, even if you come in a landing and kind of tip over and tap the blades while it's spinning on the ground, you're gonna have some like very crummy servos after that, or you know, they might just even strip. But they strip very quick. I mean, you can rebuild them and buy their $15 gear kit and just rebuild them all. So that's something you guys just got to look into. If you're gonna be stripping them and just if you're a beginner, you're gonna be tipping over a lot unless you fly in stability mode. Now, if you do tip over, I kind of just recommend you guys pick up another set of servos. I wish Spectrum offered a premium servo in this size, micro size, but you guys can go get Torque servos or something like that. They make some very good servos for this helicopter. Yeah, everything's pretty nice. You know, you got an oversized main shaft, oversized feathering shaft. It's a solid build. You know, this is something that's, you know, you're getting more than you're paying. I mean, you're getting a lot for what you're paying, and so, well, it's a nice kit. For bind and fly, you're not really gonna get a kit like this anywhere else. So here's the box. You get a nice box. You get nice box art. You know, there you have all your logos. It gives you everything that it has, a rundown and summary of who it's for, and it's a great beginner helicopter, and it's a good advanced heli-pilot helicopter. So first you get your manual. It's some foam packaging. You get your canopy in a bag. It comes with the original landing gear. I took it off. So this one right here is also a smart one. I don't really care for the original landing gear. I recommend you beginners use it, and that's just because it's more bouncier, more it'll absorb more of the shock when you come to a land, and it's higher off the ground, so the tail gets out of the ground, out of the way, and it's easier to take off and harder to tip over. This one, it's brand new. It's never been used. Well, I've actually just test flown it, but so what I've done to this one as well, so I went ahead and replaced the tail case with the all aluminum tail case. Let me see if this can focus, but I installed the all aluminum tail case from the original. Everything except the bell crank, but the everything else is all aluminum blade grips. The pitch slider, tail case, and yeah, that's much better. I found that at higher RPMs, this thing likes to vibrate a lot. The plastic one, possibly because it's less rigid. I kind of just keep this one at the factory RPM. So it comes with an offset to the ESC in forward programming. I believe to the idle up 2 it's gonna be at -20, and then idle up 1 is -15, and then -5 I believe, or 10. Now I set those to 0, and then I calibrate my ESC to achieve the highest RPM possible on the helicopter. And so you want to set it to 0 to properly set the ESC to output its maximum output. So you go to forward programming, go to setup, and you here, I'll just show you. I have the remote right here. So let's repackage this, and you just aside from what else, that the helicopter that comes in the box, you get a little bag of zip ties, gyro foam, and some double-sided tape. In case you do crash and you have to rebuild the helicopter, you get some gyro tape to reposition and re-glue it back to the way it was. Yeah, packaging's, good packaging, very nice. But here's the helicopter. And why do I have 2 of all my helicopters? I keep 2 because sometimes I'm diagnosing and I can't really. Sometimes I feel like something's normal, and I just kind of want to refer to a new one and just kind of go based off that one and determine whether what I'm experiencing is normal or not. And most of the time, I'm able to fix it and get it better than what it was brand new. So let's connect the helicopter. Turn your transmitter on, and this is what I'm referring to, guys. I'm not gonna do a setup on this video. If you guys need me to, I will. Like, it's got telemetry. That's awesome. So you go to forward programming, put hold. Go to setup, guys. Oh, sorry, not system setup. Go to setup. Oh, jeez. It's hard with the camera. Go to setup. Go to throttle. That's your offset. Hold's always going to be 0. Normal mode. See, I have it to 0. And this one's set to -10. -10. So subtract 10 from 100%. That's how much less power is going to be output at that value. So if you have it to 50%, it's going to be output. It's going to really output at idle up 2. Instead of 50, it's going to be at 40%. So some of you guys are feeling like your helicopter's underpowered with the throttle curve that was recommended at factory from your manual. It's because your endpoints aren't set right. So set this to 0. I keep the idle up 1, idle up 2 to the offset they recommend, because that's most likely the RPM they want you to fly it at for the PIDs and everything. The way they've tuned it. So go to idle up, go to normal mode, set that to 0, and then set that to 0, and go back, get out of hold. Remember, when you're in forward programming and you get out, your motor might spool up without the slow spool up. So be careful. Just disconnect and reconnect your helicopter, and you should avoid that. So, or just kind of pulse it really quick. So go to your throttle curve. You're gonna set it to 0. Your normal throttle curve, set it to 0 all the way to 100. You don't really have to mess with the middle ones. Just set a 100% curve to the end. It just needs to see 0, what's 0 at the bottom and what's 100 at the top in relation to the stick. So disconnect your helicopter, set your throttle to 100%. You can verify it's outputting 100% by going to this menu, guys. Go right, and you can see it's 99 for throttle and 0. If it doesn't say 0, it'll say negative 100, which is also 0. But you wanna go full 100. Leave it there. Connect your helicopter. 2 beeps. Bring it down to 0. And that's it. You are now outputting 100% of its power. Now you can go and remove all the offsets to your other curves, your flight modes. So go to the forward programming and put it, if you want more power in throttle up 2, now you can set it to 0 offset and then put 100% throttle curve all the way through. And that head speed would be substantially way higher than what it was. You'll just have to mess with your PIDs, because you will have more mechanical advantage over the helicopter than what it was. So I'm just gonna set this back. Shut this off. But yeah, guys. Anyways, back to the video. This helicopter is good for you guys who are beginning, and also you guys who are progressing and are better. This is a very great. It's a very good kit. You know, you'll have to fly it. I mean, it's very nimble. It's very responsive. There's more presence in the sky for sure. This is the only 450 that I've ever had, or 360 heli of this size, that I feel like it flies like it's bigger, and it feels and it looks like it's bigger just because of the canopy. The canopy has a lot of presence in the air for its size. It feels good. You know, it's intimidating when you're moving up from a 100 size, and for example, like their 150S and their 180 Fusion, or Infusion 180, their new release Infusion 180, and 230 or whatever, 270. Not so much a 270, but anything 230 and smaller, you're gonna notice, the intimidation when you spool this up. They get louder. They just, those blades bark more at you, and but when you're in the air, it's so much more stable. The movement's more predictable. It's a bigger helicopter. It feels like it's moving slower, but it's very fast. It moves in relation to your stick movement. It moves with the stick, if that makes sense. You can increase and decrease your roll rates and the speed of the width of how this helicopter, how fast it rolls, and that's all gonna be done through forward programming. But yeah, guys, this is one of the best kits that they offer. That's Bind and Fly, and one of their nicest, that if not their nicest, that's Bind and Fly, and is part of their Fusion lineup and higher performing helicopters. And yeah, so there's not much to say about this one anymore, because I'm sure there's many videos out there with this one, but the only cons were what I mentioned, and other than that, it's a great helicopter, guys. This is not something that should be overlooked. I mean, it's a well-made piece of machinery. It's very easy to work on, and I've crashed this a few times, and I never beat the tail boom up. I'm always just when I do crash this, and when it does happen, I always end up just replacing feathering shaft, main shaft, and most of the time I keep my links. That's another thing. The 360 Fusion does have beefier link rod ends, so they don't really crack as easy as a 330S. So I always just reuse those when I do crash. I recommend you guys replace them, but that's just me. You don't have to do what I say. You can do whatever you want. It's your helicopter, your money. There's another thing. Oh, I wanna also, you guys gotta keep in mind. One of the reasons I crashed was because out of the factory, I believe that my tail belt tension was a little too tight, so I went ahead and loosened it up a bit, and I was, mistakenly very wrong on that one because I loosened up the belt tension, and what ended up happening is I was under hard collective and my higher head speed. What happened was the belt jumped to the other side of the pulley, and yeah, I lost my tail. But thankfully, because of stability mode active on my stunt one, I just jumped down to stability mode, and the pyro comp and stability was able to have the helicopter just spin flat. It didn't come down. So when I came to a low hover, I was able to just hold it there, and I just cut my throttle and it stopped spinning, and I landed upright. Nothing happened to it. This is actually the way it looks after the crash. And yeah, so I recommend this kit. It's $4.99. It's a good price. And again, my other topic was crashing. What you're gonna be looking at when you crash this in prices. Landing gear. If you're buying the OEM, the original one that comes with the smart one, that's a cheaper landing gear, and I think it comes in a set of two. But if you're buying like carbon fiber, from the older one, that's gonna be like $20 or $30. Main blades $30, 35, and you're looking at really what you're gonna be replacing is booms. Comes in a set of two. That's I believe $15 or $16. Tail blades are like $7, $10, and tail fin is like about 10 or 15. It's fairly cheap to repair, and I think just keep that in mind that the bigger the helicopter, the more expensive it gets to repair. But this is still a good budget, and this is something you're not really gonna crash as quick as you would with the micro, because the micros just get out of you lose sight. I mean, you lose control of it pretty easily. I mean, compared to this, I mean, I feel like I'm more in control of this, and I feel like I'm actually flying my 480 or my 550 stretch when I fly this. I feel like it behaves the same, and I can learn with this and progress. Um, yeah, you just gotta take those things into consideration when you're getting one, because when you crash, it's kind of like the worst letdown when you have a lot of money in the air and it just comes down, and you just feel like you're not progressing fast enough, and sometimes you want to risk trying some maneuvers, and you end up coming down. I mean, you can also invest in a simulator, which is also awesome, but it's nothing like the real experience. I didn't learn with the simulator. I do have one now to kind of practice maneuvers, just to reduce crashes. But stability just and panic, they always come in, and it's a very good resort, or something very good for me to resort to. And every time I go out, I use it, and when I try something new, and I never really crash. It's been a while since I crashed, and I think I have well over 400 flights on this, and it's hasn't given me any issues. It's the original main gear. It hasn't stripped, and it's an awesome heli, man. And guys, and you guys, who I know people out there that complain about blades and how they're not made well, and you guys just kind of have to understand that it's a highly produced product, and it's not something that's like, for example, your Saabs, your Trons and lines and all that stuff. That stuff is made by order. It's not massively produced. You know those That's why you have those things back order all the time. You don't have parts, and that's good, because that's something like that. It's only for such individuals. It's not for everybody. It's not meant to be sold to the world. And this is the same thing. It's just at a higher scale. People. This is something to get people into the hobby, but it shouldn't be overlooked. It's well made. It's well designed. It's been proven. I haven't had any issues. I can point out the issues, and I have, and it's nothing too drastic. Yeah, the main thing is you're gonna hate when you crash this one is servos. That's the most expensive part, but like I said, you can rebuild them. They're 15 bucks for the gear sets, and just have a few gears. It's only actually one gear that always strips, and that's about it, guys. I mean, don't listen to anyone. You know, if they try to tell you stay away from blades, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. You know, it's probably the best deal you're gonna get anyways. You know, and you get familiar with them, and parts availability for this is, you know, there's a bunch of parts out there for the 360 anyways, 'cause it's been around for so long. I think the 360 has been around the longest, and especially because it's shares parts with its original, which is with the what was it, the Blade 360 CFX, frame panels, many parts, you know, main heads, swash. You're gonna have parts for this for many years to come. It's not going anywhere. And yeah, guys. Well, here's the Fusion 360 once again, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope this can help you guys decide on what helicopter to get. But yes, 360 is a great choice. Bye bye.